This is a penis.
味噌スープcon gomae latte nobu daifuku!
So I just got back from seeing Minions and Monsters. No, not Supergirl. I did see Supergirl though, but I didn't get the cup. I got the cup this time because it was discounted, so technically it was cheaper getting this than an actual large drink cup. Suck that, AMC. I got a deal. I got a penis for $18. Usually I gotta pay more for something like that. But anyway, no, I saw Minions and Monsters today. I guess I should go into how I feel about the Minions film, and I just got back from it. And I know I'm late to the party. This movie's been out for like 20 days. But I guess I should get to talking about like what I think of the previous films in the franchise, both the Minions and the Despicable Me. The Despicable Me movies, they're done. They're dead. They're not coming back unless they get the writers from Minions and Monsters. They're dead. They're gone. Like, I feel like it's just been a steady decline with those films, and Despicable Me 4 was just like the last straw. If there's a Despicable Me 5, I'm not seeing it unless it gets like great reviews. With the Minions films, they have been getting better. This is the third one in the Minions, I guess, franchise you call it. They started with the first one, which was fine. I liked the movie up until they break out of the they break out like the Queen's Crown. Once King Bob starts happening, that's when the movie just dies for me and becomes just stupid poo-poo potty humor that I don't get into. But then with Minions Rise of Gru, I actually enjoyed myself with that. I don't see myself watching it again, but I have found myself rewatching clips, and I did enjoy it when it came out in theaters. It was one of the first movies I saw back in theaters, back in, I think it was like 2022. And I enjoyed myself with that. It was very colorful, it was very vibrant. It was probably the most visually interesting Illumination film, especially creatively, because a lot of their animation has just been like, this looks like it has RTX ray tracing on. That doesn't mean it looks creatively interesting. Like, I think the Sing movies and Secret Life of Pets, those are like the closest we've gotten to a creatively interesting looking Illumination film with like the designs of the animals, but it's just a city with some animals in it with RTX on. That's all it is. Illumination, I mean, it looks good, but I've never felt like Sony Pictures Animation with like Cloudy of a Chance and Meatballs, or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or DreamWorks with the Shrek films and Captain Underpants. Like, those movies were so colorful and they were so interesting looking, and they really felt creative with not only the writing but also the visualization of these characters and the world. It felt fully realized, and it felt creative. It felt like something you had never seen before in another animation film previous. And with the Illumination films, they all feel interchangeable with their animation style, but this one, I don't know what happened, but this does not look like a normal Illumination film. There's detail, there's very funny visual jokes, and the designs of the characters and the designs of the monsters are like nothing I'd seen before in an Illumination film previous, and it's really refreshing to see. It's very refreshing to see. Even some of the minions have different designs. I mean, maybe, yeah, it's just like eye color, but still, they still changed a little bit from it. I still have drink left in there. Yeah, the animation was... this is definitely my favorite animated Illumination film. It's not my favorite. I think out of all the Despicable Me films, the first one's the best. But this one's definitely number 2. And there's a lot of facts that affect that ranking, but if it was just the animation alone, that still would put it above all the other ones, 100%. Number 2, the humor in this movie it's hit or miss, but the thing is, when it misses, it's just like, okay, nice try. But when it hits, I'm like gut-busting laughing. There are so many references and visual jokes in this that just had me dying. And I saw this in a packed theater with kids as well, They were having a blast. I had no kid was laughing at Despicable Me 4 when I saw that, and it was just hard to watch. But everyone's having a great time. It's been a while since I saw an Illumination movie besides the first Mario Galaxy film where people were having like just a great time laughing. Even when a joke missed, I mean, there was a couple that just really missed for me. The thing is, when a Minions movie, most of the time when a joke missed, it's like oh, Jesus fucking Christ, just end me now. The thing is, when it missed here, it was like, okay, nice try. I get why that's funny. It just didn't appeal to me. Whereas, like, in Despicable Me 4 and the, like, latter half of the first Minions film and a good amount of Despicable Me 3, I was like, how does someone find that funny? I just don't understand the application of, like, the understanding of why that's funny. But with this, it was like, okay, it just wasn't a joke that hit me, but I got why someone else would find that funny. So I gave it a pass for that. Oh man, I can't wait to rewatch this movie because it's very reference heavy and it's very visually, it relies on a lot of visual comedy. So I can see me probably missing a lot because it was just like joke after joke after joke after joke after bit after bit after bit after bit. I could totally see me missing a lot. The voice acting, it was okay. Definitely the standout was Trey Parker. I am biased. He is one of my idols. I mean, it's Trey fucking Parker. How can you not like Trey Parker? And I was he was really the only reason why I was remotely interested in seeing this, and the fact that it took place in 1920s Hollywood. But I remember seeing, I was just scrolling through Instagram one day and I saw him doing a scene as his character, Goomy. And the way he did the voice, I could tell it was just Cartman, but he was adding that to it. He was like, like he was doing that with his mouth while he was speaking it, because I could hear Cartman underneath that like, I don't even know what you call this, but underneath whatever he was doing with his mouth, I could hear Cartman. It just put a smile on my face, and it fit that character that he played so well, because Cartman is just like, he's an evil little bitch. Like he's a little bastard. That type of voice fit perfectly for the character that he was voicing in this film. The Minions, they were fine. They were actually the most endearing out of all their films. This felt more like they were characters rather than comedic relief. And I think that's why the Minion movies are working better than Despicable Me, because in Despicable Me, they're just there for cheap laughs. They're just there for cheap laughs, whereas in this, they actually have to be the main characters, and it just allows it to be a lot more creative and get a lot more interesting ideas, and I really adored it for that. And it's because of that fact that they feel a lot more endearing. You've honestly, this is the first time I felt like I related to a Minion, which is insane to say, because the more the movies went on, the more they just felt like cheap toy commercials, and it's like merchandise is just being thrown at me. I feel like, especially when it hit Despicable Me 3, I'm like, oh my god, they're just doing this to sell toys. Like, it's crazy. But in this, they actually were treated like characters with a journey, and they had goals, and they had ambitions, and it was like, where the fuck did these writers come from? Like, why haven't we gotten movies like this before in the Minions saga? It was very surprising to me that they actually gave this much of a shit about a Minions movie. So that was a nice surprise. The references in this film, very good. They did such a good job of meshing presentation of, like, say, a trip to the moon, while also having Minions being a part of that. It was very cool to see, because it could have just been like, oh, put a Minion like there or something, like walking by the screen or something, but no, they actually made him a part of the references, and it was really great how they handled that. It didn't just feel like, oh, they're just referencing Citizen Kane. There's so many references I know I missed. I know my favorites were definitely Citizen Kane. I think, if I'm not wrong, there was one for Scarface with Boris Karloff. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was. I haven't seen enough old school films to really say. Like I said, my favorites were Citizen Kane reference and A Trip to the Moon, which both of those had me fucking wailing. I loved it. The story was fine. I like the creativity of the story, but it's nothing special. It does add a lot of comedic ability. It's a very creatively interesting story, but it's nothing like Oscar worthy or like Oscar like best animated picture worthy. It's nothing that's gonna like get you emotional. It's nothing that's gonna get you like going cheering or anything, but it's enough to where you're like, okay, I could watch this for an hour and a half. But yeah, I think that's really all they need to talk about. Like, there's not really much I need to talk about other than it was funny and it was creative and it was just an entertaining watch. That's all this movie needs to be, because the thing is, that's also what this was celebrating. This was celebrating where film started and why audiences really started to understand what film meant and what it could do. And it represents that through just the most modernized, I think the most modern depiction of what modern entertainment, especially modern kids entertainment, is. And that's the Minions. And I think that's just such a genius idea, is experiencing, showing kids, you know, what films used to be and what they can be through the eyes of what they see movies as already. And I think that's just absolute genius, and I was floored with this movie. I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, and I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. It's nothing perfect, but it does what it needs to, and in certain moments it exceeds what it needed to be. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I do recommend seeing it. I will be getting this one on Blu-ray to add to my collection, just because I'm just a sucker for these kinds of movies. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you see the movie, and if you have, please tell me what you thought about it, because I will be putting my Letterboxd in the description if you want to either put it in the YouTube comments or my Letterboxd comments. Tell me what you thought of my review. Tell me what you thought of my Letterboxd review, and I'll see you all in the next one.